Hello everyone, and thank you for watching our presentation. My name is Garrett Molinex, and my other presenters are Natalia Pineda and Lucas Smith. The company we chose to do this research project on is Geico Insurance Company. We chose Geico because of two reasons. The first being that they are one of the top advertisers in America, not just in the auto insurance industry, but in all industries. Geico spent $1.5 billion in advertising in the year of 2019, making them the top advertiser in the auto industry by spending. Geico can even spend on average $20 million in a week solely on television advertising. And secondly, because of their unique and unorthodox advertisements. If you ever seen a Geico commercial before, you know that they do not seem like car insurance commercials. They are humorous and often involve fictional characters. This does not change in their newest advertising campaign called Sequels. This campaign is based off of Hollywood's obsession of creating sequels all the time. The Sequels campaign brings back three characters from past commercials: the raccoons, the woodchucks, and Pinocchio. These characters are placed in all new commercials that are equally as funny as their past commercials. People are urged to vote online for their favorite characters, and if they do vote, they have a daily chance of winning a $100 movie theater gift card. We wanted to research a few different things going on in this campaign. Is the use of Geico's characters from past commercials changing the consumer's perceptions of the brand? Can brand awareness increase among 21 to 45-year-olds with Geico's Sequels campaign? And can Geico's use of nostalgia and humor in sequels change consumers' attitudes towards the brand?
Okay, so for field research, we decided to observe likes, comments, shares, and reactions in three main social media platforms. These were Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And we decided to revise all this data from December 11 in 2019, when the Sequels campaign was announced, to February 11th, when the winning character was announced. So on Facebook, the majority of the comments were about how funny the commercials were and which was people's favorite character. But there were negative comments as well. So some users expressed that the commercials were dumb or that they didn't have to do with insurance at all. An interesting finding, though, was that the number of shares was higher than the number of likes, and this gave us some positive insight about how users are actually engaging with Geico's social media content. Also, when it comes to YouTube, and judging by the number of subscribers, likes, and shares, it seems like YouTube is Geico's go-to platforms when displaying their commercials. Again, most comments were positive, but some negative comments were there as well. The most common negative content was about Geico recycling their commercials, and this is a reference to their last campaign back in 2018 called The Best of Geico, which used almost the same tactics as the Sequels campaign. They re-aired old Geico commercials, they encouraged people to vote for their favorite commercial, and also they offered a chance to appear in an upcoming Geico ad. Now, on Twitter, users didn't have the same level of engagement as in the first two platforms. Still, the campaign was trending for a short time. Users would use hashtags like Geico Sequels, or hashtag Team Raccoons, or whatever character they liked. And now, when it comes to our focus group, we had 5 participants in total. They all were 20 to 25 years old, and we wanted to get more insight about the current perceptions about the insurance industry, about the considerations when looking for insurance, and of course the reach of the Sequels campaign. We started by asking them to rate insurance brands according to which one came to their minds first. All of them reported that Geico was the first one, followed by Progressive, Allstate, and State Farm. After that, we asked them about which brand they thought was the market leader, based on what they had seen in TV or social media, or what they knew about these brands. So 4 participants said that Geico was the market leader, and one of them thought it was Progressive, and they were all surprised when we told them that it was actually State Farm, the number one in the industry. From these questions, we actually concluded that Geico has higher brand equity, at least among those 20 to 25 years old. When we asked them about the sequels campaign specifically, they were not aware about it, but they reported that they had seen the characters in past commercials. And moving on, we also designed a survey with four main objectives. First, we wanted to know more about consumers' preferences when it comes to insurance commercials. We also wanted to know about the influence of humor on consumers' trust towards the brand and brand awareness, of course, and perceptions before and after watching three sequels commercials. We thought these variables were important to measure because, according to a study made by UCLA about insurance advertising, the content that actually increased brand awareness was the non informational funny one. And also, for a 2x2 design experiment, we focused on two independent variables that we think are important when it comes to consumers' perceptions about reusing old characters. So the first one we use is nostalgia, and the other one is call to action. So we manipulated these two so that they were either absent or present in the ad, and the possible confusion that the original ad might have caused to those who are not familiar with Geico's commercials, coupled with the negative opinions I mentioned before about reusing old characters, helped us come up with a solution where call to action is present, so that they know what the ad is about, while applying Geico's creative, funny tone to new characters rather than older characters. And ultimately, when it comes to uh, big data is already being used in the industry, but we think that information like social media activity or online shopping behavior or browsing activity, sorry, would give Geico important information about what users expect to see first on a website, for example. Also, sensor data that comes from devices like smart homes or smart cars can be useful when improving or developing Geico's mobile app or future software as well. Mm, Ultimately, there are three main key performance indicators that we think Geico should pay attention to. The first one is events, um, and this is an indicator of a specific activities and interactions on a website, and they can go from watching a video to get a quote or click on an external link. Conversion is another simple but essential indicator as well. It has data about those users who actually bought the service. And last, watch time is important as well, and even more for an advertiser like Geico, whose content is intended to entertain more than anything. And it's because it tells you how users are actually engaging with the content, meaning that they're actually watching the commercials.
All right, so in my part, I will be focusing on some recommendations that we have for Geico. Our first one is that to continue focusing on humor because consumers love that. So pretty much what we found through our research was that humor was working, and it's probably the reason as to why Geico has been using humor for so long in their advertisements. But we think that they need to continue doing this as its effectiveness shows through their many campaigns over the years and how successful they've all been. And that continued through the sequels campaign as well. Our next recommendation is to move on to new characters. So the last two campaigns that Geico have ran were the sequels and the best of campaigns, both of them focusing on past characters that they already had in other commercials, in other advertisement campaigns. So we think the best thing for Geico moving forward would be for them to focus on new characters and new storylines, so that this way it can introduce a new side of their humor through different characters and not keep rehashing the old things. And although it was successful to sometimes bring back the old things, if they keep doing it, it could get old and it could ruin the novelty of having the same characters back. So we recommend that they move on to new characters. And our third recommendation was to focus on raising watch time. So watch time was one of our KPIs, and we think that it's a really important KPI to focus on because the way to raise watch time is to raise the quality of the content, and anything that raises the quality of the content should raise watch time. So in raising watch time, we'll have better content, we'll have more viewership, we'll have more engagement, and then we just think that's a really, really important KPI to focus on. For our future research recommendations, the first question that we think should be researched is, what does better content mean to consumers? So as I just stated, we want better content to raise the watch time and so forth. So we need to know what better content is, what the people want. So that would be something that they would benefit from researching. The next question is, what aspects of existing characters can translate into new characters? And this goes back to our second point of the recommendations, the new characters. Though we want them to be new, we want them to still have the same charm, the same humor as their current and past characters have. So to continue on that same level of humor and intrigue that their characters have, we think that they need to do some more research on what aspects of their existing characters can translate into new characters. And the last feature research question we have is, how successful are contests in raising consumer engagement? We focus on nostalgia and as well as the different things for the sequels campaign. But one thing that the sequels campaign did that we did not focus on was the fact that they had the contests of what sequel was going to be the best, and we didn't focus much on that, but we think that it could be very beneficial to focus on that question, as if it was like something that worked, then it should be repeated in the future and maybe changed to make it even better. But either way, it has to be researched on. And finally, our conclusion, Geico is an advertising giant and spends millions on their advertising efforts, but we believe that this is well justified. Over the years, they've gained a reputation of a very well advertised company, and people expect that from them. It's because they've been giving it for so many years consistently good entertainment through advertising. We also found that they have found a way to make selling an annoying need a fun and engaging process, and they have learned to do this through humor. So the way that they've done this, we found through all our research, we've concluded that it's been humor. The humor is the backbone of everything that they've done in their advertisements since the late 90s, and it continues to be at the forefront of all their commercials, and it keeps working, so why not keep going with it? Nobody wants insurance, but everyone needs it, so why not make it fun? Thank you.